On Christmas week, a father invited his entire family home to celebrate, but what none of them knew is that he had already decided they would all die. They trusted him for 7 straight days and never realized they were already dead. This is the Simmons Family Christmas Massacre. Christmas Eve, 1987. Dover, Arkansas. Snow covered the fields. Church bells rang in the distance. Lights glowed in farmhouse windows. Inside one quiet rural home, a man sat alone, fully aware that before this holiday ended, his entire family would be dead. His name was Ronald Gene Simmons. And what began as a Christmas gathering would become one of the most horrifying family massacres in American history. But what makes this story truly disturbing is not just what he did. It's how long he had been planning it. Because the nightmare didn't begin on Christmas. It began decades earlier. Ronald Gene Simmons was born into instability, violence, and control. His childhood was marked by abuse, rigid discipline, and emotional isolation. By the time he became an adult, he had already learned one dangerous lesson. Silence hides monsters best. He joined the military. Built a respectable image. Married. Had children. To the outside world, he was strict but ordinary. A quiet man. A working father. A family man. But behind closed doors, something unspeakable was unfolding. Years before the murders, investigators would later uncover a truth so dark it would shake courtroom walls. Ronald had been abusing his own children. For years. Some of the daughters became pregnant. And the man who preached control had already lost his mind. And yet, no one stopped him. Because no one knew. Until Christmas. On December 22, 1987, Ronald began making phone calls. He told his children to come home for Christmas. He promised gifts. Food. Family reunion. They believed him. One by one, they returned to the house. A daughter. A son. Grandchildren. They hugged him. They trusted him. They never left again. What happened inside that house over the next 7 days would remain partially unknown forever. Because only one person survived. And he never spoke. But the bodies would tell the rest. Investigators believe Ronald killed each family member individually. Quietly. Methodically. Without warning. Some were shot. Some were strangled. Some never saw it coming. He dressed their bodies. Cleaned the scene. Then placed them carefully in different rooms of the house. As if arranging decorations. Christmas lights still blinked. The radio still played. And the bodies of 14 family members lay hidden within the walls. For 7 days. Neighbors saw nothing. He went about his routine. Smiled. Paid bills. And waited. Because he wasn't finished. Not even close. On the morning of December 28th, Ronald Gene Simmons left the house. He drove into Dover. Without warning, he opened fire. He shot a woman through a window. Then killed another man in his office. He wounded strangers who had never even heard his name. People screamed. Cars crashed. Chaos erupted. And just as suddenly, he stopped. He calmly surrendered. No resistance. No escape attempt. No emotion. But what police were about to find at his home would traumatize them for life. When officers entered the rural farmhouse, they expected 1 or 2 victims. They found 14. 14 family members. Children. Grandchildren. Lined across different rooms like silent witnesses. Some placed on beds. Some on floors. Some under furniture. Every room told the same story. This was planned. This was controlled. This was personal. Hardened detectives walked out shaking. Some vomited. Others cried. The town of Dover went silent. Christmas was over. And it would never feel the same again. But one final question remained. Why? Ronald never denied the murders. He showed no remorse. No breakdown. No rage. Psychologists tried to understand him. They never could. At trial, families packed the courtroom. But the man at the center of it all barely spoke. He was sentenced to death and placed on death row. He spent years in isolation, never explained his motives, never showed regret, and took every secret with him to the grave. But the real terror was what this case revealed about monsters who look normal. The Simmons Family Christmas Massacre remains one of the most disturbing crime stories in American history. Not because of how loudly it happened, but because of how quietly it began. A man, a family, a holiday, and 7 days of silent death. This case reminds us of something terrifying. Sometimes, the most dangerous monsters don't hide in darkness. They sit at the dinner table and smile. Between truth and darkness, there are stories that bleed. Welcome to Crimson Crime Cases.